In several U.S. cities, investigations are underway into possible hate crimes against Muslims. DeMarco Morgan is following this.
Surveillance video shows a suspect punching, kicking, and stomping on a Muslim teenager in Brooklyn, New York. The beating took place outside a mosque during a midnight prayer service. Graphic pictures show how badly the teen and his friend were beaten. The mosque is urging police to investigate as a hate crime. One of the victims says the attacker called him a terrorist as he kicked him. Corey Saylor tracks cases of Islamophobia for the Council on American Islamic Relations.
I think it's unfortunate that what ISIS wants seems to be happening in the country. They want Americans to turn on each other, and that is what we're seeing at this point in time with a number of mosques or people who are apparently Muslim being targeted for attacks.
In Minneapolis, police are also investigating the recent shooting of 2 Muslim men as a possible hate crime. This weekend, authorities in Florida arrested 25-year-old Taylor Anthony Mazzanti in connection with the beating of a man outside the same mosque Orlando nightclub shooter Omar Mateen attended.
Turn to your left, or your right. Turn to your right.
Near Cleveland, a woman at a hotel saw a man in traditional Arab clothing and called police, believing he was a terrorist. Police handcuffed the man, only to discover he was innocent. The man collapsed after being questioned.
You okay?
Local officials have apologized to the man in the Ohio case.
Chapter of the Council on American Islamic Relations, also known as CAIR, held a rally to show their support against Islamophobia. The goal of today's rally was to end racism, Islamophobia, and hatred. The executive director of CAIR Minnesota says Islamophobia is a real challenge in the Muslim community here. He says it's causing a very unsafe environment for Muslims.
Land Use Act.
When it comes to building a mosque, we almost are guaranteed that there will be opposition.
Jilani Hussein says that opposition often comes from organized anti-Islamic people outside of that community.
Islam is evil.
Hussein says that rhetoric forced Muslims in St. Cloud to withdraw their permit for a mosque.
Also, the capital today, a push to end so-called Islamophobia across Minnesota. Community leaders gathered to speak out against anti-Muslim sentiment. The Council on American Islamic Relations says it's been tracking Islamophobia-related incidents in the state. CAIR says it's troubling that Muslims can be the targets of hate crimes and discrimination.
We have seen an increase of Muslim employees being fired from their jobs in the Twin Cities and across greater Minnesota for religious accommodations. We have seen and we are concerned about increased bullying in our schools that is targeting Muslim students.
The group is urging Minnesota's political, social, and business leaders to learn more about the state's diverse Muslim community.
It happens in my school when people ask me, like, why do you wear the hijab? And they say, are you bald?
Do you have cancer because you cover your hair? They said that I'm ISIS. They took on my scarf and they try to look like me, but they don't know how much it hurts. Yeah, I felt sad.
A few recent incidents that have really gotten the attention of lawmakers, in particular a violent assault on a Somali woman here in the Twin Cities, and some believe this bill was needed to stop a disturbing growing trend. Many are calling these bruises a result of hate. On Friday, Asma Jama wasn't going to silence the pain that some say a whole community is feeling.
He said, if you live in America, you have to speak English.
Last year, Jama was allegedly attacked by this woman for not speaking English at a Coon Rapids Applebee's.
When I turned around to look at her, she had a beer mug in her hand and she threw it across my face. And then I had 17 stitches on my face.
Now the punishment for similar crimes is even tougher. The maximum penalties for felony assaults increase by 25% if they're motivated by bias.
I think sentences do deter crime.
Jailani Hussein with the Council for American Islamic Relations says as a society, we're seeing more hate crimes.
There's a lot of fear right now. There are incidents happening in our communities where individuals are being targeted for their race, their color, and especially their religion.
The bill specifically describes bias based on the victim's race, color, sexual orientation, disability, or age.
I think it's a great message, especially right now where we see a great deal of anti-Muslim, anti-African-American again.
Last month, Governor Dayton visited a mosque that was vandalized by an intruder. With the motivation unclear, Hussein says ignorance and hate need to be resolved through education. And while this bill is a step in the right direction, more can always be done.
To see these things actually happen in Minnesota and then to have your governor stand up and then to be followed by really a strong bill as a step forward is really a remarkable step.
It means a lot to them because they came here to practice their religion, and I think people should understand that other people want to be free and they want to have their own choices because they came here to make their own choices.